Hello and welcome to this edition of Trigger Point Research Setups. Now, one of the things we're going to talk about is the variety of indicators that we have available and how to actually read them on a chart, because a chart is a living and breathing version of what the sentiment on a particular stock is. Now, if you recall last week, there was some incredible amount of jubilation when Steve Ballmer had announced that he was going to step down from Microsoft, and the stock went from the $32 range all the way up to about 35 and change. Really took a tremendous ride up into an area that showed some resistance from back in, let's say, the June-July area of this year. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you was, well, we can take a look at this on a daily basis, which is a good way to look at stocks, to look at the longer term and see what was happening here. Well, we do see that we had a variety of levels that were important. We had that a significant amount of space, if you will, on the upside, because when we take a look at the radar right here and put that on the chart, you can see that in the area of about 32 all the way up to right here, up to about 35, there was really very limited amount of overhead resistance. And once you broke through that, there was a short squeeze that ensued, and you know what happens from there. Now, what we did want to show you today was something I think even more important, and taking the algorithms that we have involved with altimeter through trigger charts and taking a look at the radar. These are really important, but I wanted to show you something that is also very interesting and can give you a heads up here, and that was the autopilot. Now, autopilot gives you a nice look at what's happening here, and this is kind of also some training because it gives you the same concept. And we're going to put two things on here. I'm going to put the altimeter on there, which gives us the various breakout levels and breakdown levels for a stock. And you can see right now that Microsoft is trading down significantly on their announcement to purchase the Nokia handset division. And in fact, if you look at this, it's kind of interesting that you did see a move up and then right back down to the levels, and almost an exact point of the drop came just slightly below what we call the key support levels. Now, I want to put on another indicator on here to show you something. Now, this kind of colors it up very nicely and gives you a good view of what is a level that you could have used for any kind of breakout or breakdown. Now, right now, you can see that there was a significant shift from the uptrend that started when that breakout occurred after the announcement by Ballmer. And we'll just mark that right here at about the 32 level or so. And then you want to take a look that we saw that come in, and then there was a quick turn and it went to the short side. Now, what does this all mean? Well, if you're looking at these key levels, particularly that we do on Trigger Point Research, you want to find those areas that have the greatest ability to see vertical moves. This area here in between the 35 level and 34 and change from May through June was a consolidation. We could even call this range here, even though it was bumpy, from about 34 to 33 a consolidation. So a breakout in July, and then all of a sudden another turn, and then a consolidation from the end of July through almost the beginning of September, late August. Now, what you can see here, I'll clean this up so we can see what we're talking about here, and we'll do this in a way that is, I think, very important, in that we want to look at this just from the perspective of what is the trend showing us. And what you can see here, I believe, is that when you do break, and what we do is when we find that algorithmic mode that shows a break, and I'll highlight some of these here. We saw a break right here. We saw a change of direction here back in May at about 34, and then this choppy area. But when the significant change happened and you have a breakdown and you broke below a very key resistance or support level, you bounced up against the resistance or bounced down, well, you have to look at, well, what does that mean and what do I do from here? Well, some of the trigger point research that we have done and looked backwards at the success ratios of the indications of whether you're going to see a continuation of a trend moving higher, or if you're going to see a change in direction that's significant and you're going to see all of a sudden a move lower like we see here, can be identified. And that's what we actually provide for in the Trigger Point Research Alerts package. And we did put out a variety of potential breakdowns. Just last week on Thursday, we put out the potential breakdowns, and Microsoft was on that list. And if you would have had that, looked at that, and it did show some of the key characteristics, you possibly may have caught this. We did not trigger that because there was a few other components that didn't fit. But you can see that if you do look at the lists on a regular basis, and for our subscribers that get the actual alerts to them and the very specialized alerts, which are a sitting down of the entire potential breaking up or breaking down list, we give us our best ideas to our subscribers, well, then you can have these ready to go at any given time. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind that these are the kind of things that we're looking for, these very fast zones where you're going to see this breakup, or if we can even go backwards on this and we can look back to some of the times in the past that there was other potential breakdowns. In October, you saw that breakdown, that change of dynamic, and then again the breakup that started in April. Anyway, check it out over on TriggerPointResearch.com. There's something there that I'm sure you'll enjoy, and we hope to be making you some money soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.